Okay, scoot you back over a little bit, son. There we go. Perfect. Okay, where we at on the clock, son? Do it a little bit. Lakeisha's out of it, son.
By two minutes.
There we go. Perfect.
What happens if I click this?
Try it. I think that's what you're supposed to do, right? Oh, you did it the other way. Oh, yeah, turn around. No, you turned around.
There you go.
Okay, well, check some of the other gadgets. The middle one, I forgot what you got to do.
I need y'all to write this shit down.
Well, we do too. Okay, son, I got it from here.
Okay.
Oh, there's a pen. I was looking.
Oh, yeah. So I'm looking at people on come out with something. Well, no, we're not live yet. I can push any buttons.
Each segment before break is 18 minutes.
I know, son. Just give it a cues. You've been doing great. Don't get fired.
Every hire you.
I've done it like 3 times this month.
Right before the show. I so love this down here.
I think we are tired.
I just gotta wait for your disclaimer to play. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning and happy Saturday. I am your host, Tamori Richardson, and this is Power 88.fm. And this is a segment of TeeTalk, a Global Vibe. I'm here with my good friend, Lakeisha Johnson. And we're just going to break down what's going on around the world, local and around. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. How you doing today, Lakeisha?
I'm good.
Awesome. Very good. If you are, and you have not as of yet, please go to YouTube and tell everybody to go to YouTube and like and subscribe this page, and so we can kind of build up more subscribers. We have almost 12,000, and we definitely want to take TeeTalk to a broader audience. So wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning, Saturday morning. I am still trying to wake up. Got a big Monday going on with Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday. His birthday, of course, was on January 15th. So, I want to make sure that everybody's finding some place to be able to acknowledge the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as usual, for the rest of January, we're going to give out one of his wonderful quotes as well. So let's kind of get into a little bit of local news. Lakeisha, I don't know if you've been keeping up with everything, and I know you do because we talk offline about quite a few things, but just kind of, we've got the inauguration coming up. That's not local news, but it is local news.
Okay.
And just some of the things that are going on locally. We've had a lot of elections. We've got a lot of things that are going on in the news locally here. Solano County is a great county, but we're not super exciting. You are not going to get all the bells and whistles. We're just not exciting like that, but which is good also. So different cities have different mayors. Some people have been reelected into their positions. So looking forward to seeing what some people are going to do in the county of Solano elected wise. Some opportunities and what might be coming up in 2025. Hopefully new people, good people. So yeah, we know. No, not all, but whatever. Anyway, DEI. What do you think about it? They're trying to ban it. They said it's a part of getting woke, staying woke, being woke. What do you think?
Oh boy. DEI.
I mean, let me
just kind of put me on a spot there.
Well, so let me tell you what I think. Because I'm certified and trained to teach DEI. And I stopped training and facilitating it a while ago because it started turning into something I felt personally that was ugly. So, for example, when I started training and I got certified with Cornell University, I did it based up, solely based upon, yes, there needs to be more diversity. There's not enough women of all colors. And in some areas, there's not enough men. There's not enough people of color at all, not just black people. And then the inclusion, equity, fair access to pay, fair access to having corporate jobs that are mostly and mainly have been white male centric. And so it was really, really, really a great opportunity to have those spaces and be in those spaces and have that opportunity and making sure that people understand why it's important for diversity, equity, and inclusion. What turned me personally off for it is that it turned into an us versus them.
Absolutely.
So it was no longer about how we can all work together, and it was very, everything came on the legs of George Floyd's murder, and we know wherever you are in this country, we know that that was a murder. Wherever you stand politically on it, I don't believe he was a martyr for the black culture at all.
Let's be clear.
And he was not a hero at all, but no one deserves to have their life taken from them. That brought on a lot of white guilt. And so because of that, I believe there was a strong white progressive along with more so of a black progressive movement, which has been necessary to start taking advantage of that opportunity, which that's sometimes how things happen. But what has happened is, like anything, when people do something because of guilt and not because from the heart, well, it's gone too far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I see it as being sometimes very anti-white, very anti-anything, very anti-establishment. And I don't see much communication about how do we work together and more communication about how do we get ours.
I think that, let me look, I'm trying to speak politically correct.
I don't.
But, I feel as a people, we have to still come to the understanding that we have to work double hard, triple hard to get where we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're successful women,
Mm-hmm.
or what have you, but there are a lot of people that look like us that are not.
Okay.
When you go into organizations and it's 95%, or just say, even if it's 80%, Caucasian or what have you,
Mm-hmm.
and they have black people there, they don't have black people that are in position,
Mm-hmm.
in positions of authority. And so I think that it's important, but I think there has to be a balance to it.
Okay.
And I think that that's where we're a lot of times those that from other ethnicities, they look as if, because somehow we have people that get placed in these positions that are not qualified.
Mm-hmm.
So then that puts a blanket for everybody, like, okay, well, you're there only because of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
DEI, not that you earned it or that you are qualified or educated or anything like that. Now, I think that there has to be some balance, because otherwise if they could, they would exclude us out.
I agree.
And so, and it goes back to, and I'm trying to think of the term that was designed.
Affirmative action.
Thank you, affirmative action.
Yeah.
And,
But affirmative action and DEI are two totally different things.
they are, but they help in the same aspect.
Well,
when you
affirmative action didn't help black people at all.
It helped white women.
It helped white women. It didn't
Right,
help us.
but a lot of people thought they did not understand what affirmative action was. They thought it was helping us. And I said, no. They were helping the white women that
Right.
stayed at home being
Right.
cared for by their white husband.
Right.
And so then it went white man, white woman,
Right.
black woman,
Right.
then black man.
Correct.
And so,
And that was literally the pecking order.
right.
Yeah. Something that initially, but this is part of the problem. When you create anything, and you're right, there has to be some, it's not just black. I mean, the world has become so very just black and white. We have Asian people that are, how many Asian people do you see in politics or in any type of really, in corporation, because they have the education, and let's keep it real, our culture is like what, still 6% in education in the United States of America. I'm just talking about the black culture.
Right.
And then talking about Americans, we're by far kind of like the dumbest country. We don't no education. We're the smartest, but we don't want any education. So Southeast Asian, they come over, they're educated, they take advantage of the American educational system and utilize it. And where there is a lot of slavery helped to build a lot of wealth in this country for white families.
Even Asian slavery.
Absolutely. I mean, there was Native American, and
Mhm.
my family is part of Native American descent. So there's slavery, but it's not just black slavery.
Correct.
Every culture has had some enslavement. I think by far, black slaves and the Holocaust were probably, in my opinion, the most egregious things that
absolutely.
have happened in history. But however, you're absolutely right. Affirmative action was something that was put in place, and this is how another example of how, you know, kind of bow-legged mentally people can be. It was put in place or organically so that black people would have opportunities to positions that they didn't even consider us viable for in, you know, the 90s, where we were
Mhm,
educated going to college. And this is where some people don't understand. DEI is about diversity, equity, inclusion. So I was telling a friend of mine who's, you know, she's a very right-wing Republican and love her dearly. And so she was calling black people a DEI pick. So I told her, so that's offensive
Very.
because DEI has nothing to do with being black. What's happened is some people who are black have taught it from a perspective of us versus them.
Mm-hmm.
But DEI should be about if you're gay. It should be about if you're straight, if you're Asian, if you're Southeast Asian, if you're black. It should be about if you're white, because there's perspectives in where there's racism, reverse racism. Well, not reverse racism. Nobody likes that word, but you know.
No, and I agree with you, because
Right.
when you were saying, talking about DEI and where it works for, I'm like, but it really depends on where you are.
Correct.
Because sometimes you can walk in a place and it's predominantly black.
That's right.
And
That's
you're
right.
like, okay,
Right.
this isn't about it.
Welcome to our world. Because we predominantly walk into spaces that are very white. So I think when you do anything and you do it in excess and you take it too far, this is what you get. So where this could have and should have been something that bring it together based upon where the person is. I always facilitated DEI from a perspective of how we as black people can do better as a culture, because don't get it twisted, we have so many things that we are rarely in a position to point fingers, even though we do a lot of finger pointing.
Right.
Our destruction in our own community, and I'm not talking about violence, just how we destroy each other.
The excuses though that we make
Well,
to
absolutely.
even be successful. And let's talk
Absolutely.
about that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, it's like we have gone so far and we have access
Absolutely.
to so much information. We've
Absolutely.
got to stop.
Yeah.
As the people
Absolutely.
saying,
Yeah.
this is why it's
Right.
the white people's fault.
Yeah.
Or it's, you know, these are the reasons. Yes, there
Yeah.
are struggles, but we're all struggling.
But
no
when
matter
we
what.
don't hold each other accountable,
There you go.
and that's the problem. So there's things all around the block. So I just wanted to, you know, that's a hotbed. We've got the inauguration coming up.
And you, wait, Tamara, you touched bases on like Asian.
Mhm.
What have you, culturally,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can speak like with Asian women.
Yeah.
Because in the labor movement, which I'm familiar,
Mm-hmm.
it's rare that you find Asian women stepping up, and now you're seeing more of it.
Correct.
And so, but it's like their culture required for them to be submissive.
Mm-hmm.
And quiet, and you know, and they didn't engage.
Yeah.
But you're seeing more of it now.
You really are.
You know?
I mean, and you have to, because then, especially for cultures where it's very they are docile like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I think black women come out the womb having a voice because we understand the assignment. But if we don't open spaces for them to feel heard as well, not just black women.
No,
If
absolutely.
we don't open spaces for other cultures, then we're going to continue to create a community that's us versus them.
Mhm.
So I love that you brought that out, because I remember having a conversation with a very wealthy businessman in Solano County who's Asian, and he was mentioning about Asian hate. And he says, why do black people not get involved? He said, black people went through slavery, they went through Jim Crow, they're still being discriminated against. Why don't they come out and support the Asians? I think because the Asians don't support nobody. So you get what you give.
Mhm.
And because they're a quiet community, that's no excuse, right?
Right.
There's no excuse that, you know, so it's about how do we support each other, how do we care more for each other, and when we're able to do those things, then we'll be better. But if we're only doing pro-black, we're only doing pro-Asian, if we're doing anti-everybody else that doesn't look, you know, Anglo, then we're going to continue this down the road. And a lot of people didn't take an opportunity and still don't. I was talking to a law enforcement person, and I was telling him, and I think I might have mentioned this in another show, is that one of the reasons that I think law enforcement and the black community specifically have such right against each other is because who upheld the laws in slavery, the inhumane laws?
Mm-hmm.
Who facilitated the Jim Crow laws and rules and all that? It was the sheriffs and the law enforcement. Now we live in a different time, and we've got great men and women in law enforcement here in Solano County. But we've gone leaps and bounds. But that's the history, and when you don't clean that up, then it keeps traveling, and we can't see you as something different. That's exactly what we see. But and listen, they do a great job in Solano County. The law enforcement in Solano County, between Solano County Sheriffs, Fairfield PD, Vacaville, and some of these other, they are involved in the community, or they're trying to really connect so that the people see them as humans, and they see the people as humans, and vice versa. But there still has to be that cultural connect. Because you seeing me out in the community doesn't mean you connect with my culture. Because although we're not a monolithic people, we do things very similar in the black community. And if you're white and you're in law enforcement, you don't know why we do some stuff that we do. You just see us out at an event and think, no, that's nothing. You need to know what makes us tick. You need to know why we angry at you when you stop us and you don't know, we've never seen you before.
Right.
Because all we doing is flashing back to stuff from the past, or why somebody who, just a lot of different narratives. So it's my
I'm
perspective.
going to give a shout out to my pastor, Pastor Gilmore. I haven't seen you in a long time, but anyways, that's where I'm in. It was an organizing event from Bridge to Community for the city of Fairfield,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember cursing like a sailor, and I didn't know, because I didn't know he was a pastor.
Right,
and I'm
right.
just talking crazy, whatever. But anyways,
Right.
and then finally when they introduced him,
Yeah.
and they had introduced him, and I was like, oh my God, you're a pastor.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh no, be yourself,
Right.
or whatever. But I was trying to explain to him how that didn't work, because I'm like, you have these organizers, I'm like, they don't even understand what the community is about.
Yeah.
You send officers into these communities that have never been in these communities.
Mm-hmm.
You can't send, I mean, there's some, I mean, I'm connected with law enforcement.
Right.
And so it's, you want people there that
Mhm.
understand, who's been there,
Yeah.
who has relations
Yeah.
with the community.
Sure.
You don't send somebody who has no idea of how these people are being, how they raised, how they have to scramble for food and things, how they live
Mhm.
or whatever, and then they already come in with a perceived like we're animals.
Yeah.
And so if you're gonna perceive that going in, you treat them like animals. You don't treat them like people.
Sure.
But when you have officers that understand,
Mm-hmm.
that these are not animals, these are people in the struggle
Absolutely.
and haven't figured out a way to make it out.
Absolutely.
So they're able to have that dialogue and the conversation, and they're respected in the community.
Yeah, sure.
And I kept saying, I was like, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
Mhm.
I'm like, they want to go in at a top-down approach, but that's not what's gonna build that relationship.
Absolutely. And then we have to have a balance as well, because we have to understand. I always say that we're the first ones to pick up the phone and go 911. So you can't disrespect and dishonor the help and
Yeah.
support that you need.
Oh, like defund the police?
Yeah.
Like who you gonna call? Ghostbusters?
Girl.
I'm just saying.
Why the song immediately popped in my head?
Like ridiculous.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. No, I think there's so many different layers, and it's crazy in 2024. We're still dealing with race conversations and all of this. I think that we're getting ready to see a whole lot from the Trump administration. I think we're going to see a lot of good stuff, but I think we're going to see a lot of challenging stuff. I think it's we've not done a good job here, and I think that we're going to really get challenged to see what type of people we are, which we'll probably fail at because we seem to do that best as humans. But then hopefully there'll be a wraparound and so forth. So it's unfortunate we're still navigating certain things, but these are conversations that have to happen. We have to have them, and so we're going to continue to be able to have them. So it's just amazing. But anyway, but I just wanted to, definitely our hats and our hearts go out to the Southern California people who are dealing with the fires. It is absolutely horrific. And Power 88.fm and TeeTalk, a global vibe, wishes everyone safety and all support and resources. We've talked to a couple of organizations up down in Southern California that are trying to help with clothing and food and things of that nature. Can't imagine getting up and then losing your whole life in the blink of an eye and everything's gone, and some of the people that didn't make it out of senior places. So that was really, really unfortunate. So um, it's just crazy. So always love the people that you are with.
And can I just emphasize?
Yes.
Because you think they have money,
Oh gosh, right.
does not mean that they do not feel the sting
Yeah.
of losing everything.
Yeah, right.
Because some things cannot be replaced
Sure.
by money.
Sure.
And so, I hear that a lot. Oh, they're
Yeah.
rich folks. They're this, they're
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, hold on a minute.
Yeah, right. Well, they said that a lot of some of the people didn't have insurance. Some of the wealthy people didn't have home insurance. I don't think they think about that when they're buying a house and they're putting millions on it, or they're getting these lavish
Well,
mortgages and
I didn't
stuff.
say the people that was ignorant.
Right.
I'm just
Because I don't know how.
right.
I don't know how to sign on the dotted line and you don't
You
have
don't know.
insurance, but
right.
absolutely. But those listening on Power 88.fm, we're going to take a quick little break, and we will be back on Power 88.fm. But definitely moving forward, I think, who do we blame for that? Someone's responsible. I mean, they said it might be arson, may not be arson. We know there's not enough water in the fire hydrants.
Well, I
Who's
think
responsible?
we hold our elected officials responsible when they reduce services by reducing staffing. You're trying to budget, but you have to see, like, California is known for fires. I'm sorry,
that's
the fire
the number
department
one.
should not be. The fire department is not the people. Is not the group that you reduce.
Ever.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
I agree. They are talking about a recall for Mayor Karen Bass because of how allegedly poorly, they felt this was handled.
I agree.
And
I think she should have been on a plane back
well, they
to
said,
support her people.
which they said she was in Ghana, and
She
this
should
is
have been on
just
a
what
plane
I
back.
read in the newspaper. So
And
I
I'm a
don't know
supporter.
personally.
Let me just be clear. I was a supporter of hers when she was here.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're an elected official, you agree to be responsible for a body of people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see this body of people losing everything, suffering, then you are held to a higher accountability.
Mhm.
Now, you can go back. I don't care where you are.
Right.
But come back and check on your folks.
Absolutely. Agreed. Well, they said that one of the things that she didn't do press conferences, allegedly, and didn't have those conversations. So with the press to let people know what was going on, there's a lot that's reported. And, obviously, allegedly, I'm not there. I'm only reading what everybody else is reading. I don't know what's fact, what is fiction.
I love the word allegedly.
Allegedly. I'm going to be nice this year.
Right.
Allegedly. But I think that there's something to be said when you have hydrants that do not have water in them and fire trucks that are not workable. And if I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, and I'm not quite exactly sure, I know that Southern California often erupts into fire. I know Solano County often erupts into fire. That is, you can put that on your calendar every year. That's going to happen. So I did find it alarming that there would ever be an issue. You take money, you cut budgets from wherever. You don't do it from fire, and the fire has been running and has been not contained. People are losing flight access. It is absolutely crazy. It's ridiculous. So welcome back. Power 88.fm. Welcome back to TeeTalk, a Global Vibe. We are talking about the Southern California fires and how just devastating that it is, and who do you hold accountable for it. So, I think that's going to be a reckoning. I think when you take these positions, a lot of people take them for shits and giggles and, selfies. But I think when you you're right. You're responsible for people, and they're calling for people's head. I don't know whose head they should have.
I'm pretty sure the chief of police, the fire chief,
Mhm.
all of that. When they're building budgets, they're asking for things. And,
I don't
whether
know.
it's staffing, let's see, allegedly.
Allegedly.
They should be.
It's allegedly asking for things.
Correct. And, I just can't imagine. You have to look at how the size of your city,
Yeah.
the capacity of the worst thing that could happen. And even if it wasn't a fire, Southern California is known for earthquakes. We don't have them as often as they do.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
We've been
It's
having a little bit of jilting lately going on.
We just had one like little jilt, but I mean compared to them,
Yeah, different. Yeah.
I feel for the people, but that's why it's very important to know who you're electing and stay very involved. Go to your city council meetings.
Yeah, but I think one of my thoughts was she was in Congress, right?
She was,
and so you know what I want, and this is I'm deviating here. I want when you've done 85 years in a position, I want for you to say, "Oh God, it was a good run. Jesus, take the wheel." Like I want you to now go sit down and find something to do. Take up sewing or something, and then let the younger generation come in who might have some more progressive or innovative thoughts and ideas, who might have been able to strategize. Because this is my concept, and let me be clear. I can't speak on behalf of any mayor in a city such as Los Angeles, that is one of the largest cities. I think it's got about 4 or 5 million people in it alone. That is massive. But you don't get a pass either, because when you say I can do it, then the expectation is go get that done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think oftentimes we have career politicians, and I believe, and I've never met her, I'm not saying anything negative about her, I think she's a career politician, and this was an attempt to not, maybe in my opinion, this is personally my opinion, to not get out of office. And so sometimes it's time to go. You've done great in Congress, I assume, I have no idea, but you were there for a really long time. And so, it's like Barbara Lee is getting ready to run for mayor. I've met her a couple times, fantastic woman. She did some amazing stuff in the 70s. But it's time to now lift up a new generation. You lost your seat, you did some wonderful stuff. If you didn't get to do it, you ain't about to do it now. And let's lift up some other people, because the world is different.
Actually, I'm kind of excited that she's running in Oakland.
Okay.
And no, but hear me out. Is the younger generation prepared? And I think that's
for
where
what?
Prepared to step into office. And I think that's where there has been a disconnect, is that there was no transitioning. They didn't reach back to say, I want to groom you and teach you, what to expect.
Yeah.
And so that there's a legacy. I mean, don't try to die in office. Have a legacy.
We gonna roll your coffin in,
right,
and put the mic up there. How do you vote?
No, I mean, but for real. And it's like, so when you don't have,
they are dying in office here.
Damn near.
It really.
They be walking around looking like skeletons. Look, I didn't say it though.
Look, allegedly.
But no, for real.
No.
I mean, there should be some form of like, what is that saying? They say reach back, teach.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't happen. They get, I think, allegedly, they get caught up in the power and that whole, you know what I'm saying?
It is power when you're in Congress,
right? And so they want to keep it.
They want to keep it,
and so they die with it. And they don't want to show you, because if they show you, you might take something from them. Not that you will empower, you're being empowered to do great things for the people. Yeah. Because that's the whole thing. When you get in a position of service, that's what it should be.
Absolutely. 100%.
A position of, you should be servicing. And when you realize that you are too old.
They're servicing the selfies and posting on the gram.
Yeah, when you get too old to do the service that you have committed to do, you have to start. What is like you were saying, I don't know the expression, it's in my head somewhere, but now go teach the younger generation.
There we go.
There it is. I'm like, I didn't know what this is.
This is why the civil rights era went nowhere. They didn't pull back. John Lewis, for the legend and the legacy that he has.
Yes.
How many people did you pull back? I'm not saying mentored, because they'll have a law. I was mentored by great, happy for you. How many did you bring to Congress with you? How many did you help become senator?
Right.
And then because you're teaching them how to move forward. How many people did, hopefully, Karen Bass? I'm not talking about, I was influenced by her, or I don't care about that.
Right.
Did you take into your tutelage?
There you go.
Now, we have some of that going on in Solano County, where we have some... Sorry, I couldn't even do that with a straight face. Anyway.
I'm about to say where.
Let's get back to the fire. I couldn't even do that with a straight face. Okay, anyway. So I think there's something to be said about that. They're talking about a recall for Governor Newsom. He's in his last term. You guys save your money, your time, your energy, and your effort. Just
They already
he's
tried
out
that.
at 26 anyway, though.
Right, they already tried
Yeah.
that.
And he
It
can
didn't
only
work.
do so much.
They spent a lot. Well, he could do better.
Well,
Let me
you know,
just say
I agree. He should have done more, and I agree.
He has burned California
Well, you know
down.
what? Yeah, with these fires. But I do agree. I think that he should have. I think every governor, and there's so many people running, so we'll see what that looks like. I think every governor should meet with every mayor, should have quarterly mayor calls because he's the head.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't matter what happens. Now, he's not the leadership directly in LA, but aren't they calling for his head? Because you're the governor. We expect for you to have adequate oversight and reach of all of this stuff. And I used to be a huge Governor Newsom fan.
Me as well.
And I've just seen his direction go. Yeah, he's a really attractive guy, but that's it. You just see the direction going into a bad direction, and it's been unfortunate. So
for us to be the fourth largest economy, not in the United States, but in the world.
But we are largest in homeless. That was just announced I think about a week ago.
That's where I was getting to.
Okay.
California should not look what it looks like.
It should.
I travel everywhere.
Yeah.
And I come home and I'm disgusted.
Yeah. Right.
And there is no way I could even stand and defend anymore.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because you look crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Oakland, San Francisco, their elected leaders, all of them need to go.
Yeah.
I said it all of them need to go.
Well, they're getting recalled left and right.
Well, they
we
should.
need to do that here in Solano County. Go ahead.
They should.
People scared of a recall. A recall is a cleansing. What are you talking about? I'm gonna start putting that in my vocabulary. I just recalled my kitchen yesterday. I just recalled my garden. Yeah.
It's sad because the way our homeless situation is, we probably won't be allowed to even see the recovery because it's so bad.
I mean, and there's a solution for everything. I don't have it, but we've put billions of dollars into helping people be homeless.
I was about to say it's a $1 billion business now.
We have, it is, and if you're a nonprofit and you're the wrong kind, you just come up with a really good fake plan.
And exactly, God forbid Solano County has all of these. I'm sorry, but I have to say it because I experienced it. I didn't experience homelessness, but I experienced helping someone.
Yeah.
And there's a list.
Yeah.
And I remember, homeboy.
No names.
Well, no names.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, homeboy, we'll call him,
Mm-hmm.
was stating, "Oh no, we have all these programs or whatever." And I spoke with someone, and they're like, "They're programs on paper.
Mm-hmm.
They're not funded."
Mm-hmm.
And
Can't do nothing.
how do you there's 10 beds?
Mm-hmm.
You know how many homeless people?
We're a county of 450,000, and we don't have enough. Well, we don't have. It's just the reality of it.
And allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
they said, if they have somewhere to go, we will send them. So you're gonna buy them a ticket to give another place.
Well,
problem.
Listen, I think a lot of people that are homeless from the Bay Area come here. We've got great resources, and our weather is better in Solano County. That's why Sacramento is infested. San Francisco, I don't know, they're just lazy homeless people because the weather is better out in Sacramento.
Right.
While you'll be homeless out here.
You go to the hottest place.
Toes popping off and
That's
stuff.
why
You go out there.
Hawaii had a large. They say because of the weather.
Yes, and there's a lot of resources, and so it's just we got to get California up and up to snuff, and so we're going to be checking that out in the next couple of years. But hopefully they can get these fires under control, and we're just going to be looking for that and praying for everybody. There's a lot of GoFundMe's out there. Be very careful which ones you are supporting. If you can give to organizations, Lakeisha's absolutely right. Wealth does not determine security in the mind or the physicality. So if you can help and you can support, please do so, because listen, it could be us one day, whether you have insurance or not. Insurance don't always pay for everything. And the insurance companies allegedly had dropped so many of these people from Now, I want to hear from California Insurance Commissioner Laura. I don't know who this guy is, where all of our insurance rates have hiked up, but I'm telling you, in 2025, Congressman John Garamendi came out and said he either needs to resign or do something because he was the first insurance commissioner. He did great. You could contact him. Congressman Garamendi was on insurance. Insurance wasn't perfect because there's only so much you can do.
Right.
Our organizations and institutions, right? But he was on it. Like, even to this day, a lot of people don't know, like, we have issue with Social Security and things of that nature. You can call your local congressman. You should know who that is. He was on it. This person who won the election for California commissioner has done nothing. And I was so glad that Congressman John Garamendi came out. My homeowner's insurance doubled. But you denied a claim that I put in for my balcony with the fire and all of that. Then why am I paying you now double for you not to approve a claim? And for these people to have been dropped off of their, policies, I hope while they're talking about recalling people, he should be the first one on the list, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
In my humble opinion. And he's more than welcome to come onto TeeTalk, a Global Vibe on Power 88.fm and give his perspective. We might reach out to him too and see. I think that's important to get all perspectives. But this insurance thing is ridiculous because I think we need to find out, what are you doing? You're sitting there, what are you doing? You don't know what to do? You need some help? Call Congressman Garamendi and get some tips and some cues here.
It's a business.
It is a business, yeah.
And when you need it, they don't want to pay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you don't have the force and the fortitude, I've met so many elected officials that'll say, "Oh, I don't want to get involved." Anyway, listen, 2025 people, our word of the day, like what was it? Who was it? Mr. Rogers? Is recall. Recall, boys and girls.
Recall.
Anyway, all right, we're gonna keep moving forward. Oakland. Ex-mayor Shane Tao is no longer the mayor. Pamela Price, ex-DA, is no longer the DA. They're putting in applications. They said they got about 15 applications for that. I can only imagine the applications for mayor. We're just going to keep watching all of these things. I mean, I think it's important. What I do love is, I love that people are starting to have the gumption to say, you know what? You're playing with us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not playing with you any longer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm loving that. I think that's where the power is, because people think they have no power and they think that I can't do anything because I used to believe these elected official positions, and I know a lot of people in political office, and I have a great deal of respect for them because I don't think I could run for office, and I am extremely confident. I wouldn't. I don't think I could. It takes a lot. That's why I'm going to say that. It takes a lot to run for office when you're qualified. Because when you qualify, you know that you will be damned if you do, you're going to be damned if you don't, and that you're never going to do enough to satisfy the people, right? That's just the reality. And so that's why I get so upset when people are running for office and they're doing it to make themselves personally feel good. Because that don't mean you're doing anything for the people. And you don't have an agenda. You feel entitled to it, or you feel you should, or it's about time that we have this. I don't care about your gender or your color, right? So I have a lot of respect for that. But the people have the key to the whole box of power. They got to use it. And that's what listen, the Bay Area has always been much more progressive and much more active. And that's where the Black Panthers and all of those institutions that really empowered the people, even though it's been lost a little bit, take it back into your hands. And whether we agree with the recall or not, that's democracy. Democracy is that if it's not working and you have hired them, you get to now decide, give them an opportunity, fair, and then what is it? Baseball, you're out. Okay, I watch a little bit of TV.
I agree with you, but I think that there's another level to that.
Okay.
And that's because people, they're woke now. And so, yes, they will recall you. But we still live in a time that people don't want to get involved. People don't do, so they'll get rid of you.
Sure.
Not unknowing what's coming next. because they don't want to do the work, and you have to realize there's a lot of work that needs to get done.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to complain about it and to get rid of somebody, but be careful who you're getting rid of.
That's
because
true. That's true.
you
That's
don't know
true.
what's following behind if you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we get to the point that we'll get rid of them, and then we're going to hope and pray because I'm too busy.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Mhm.
I don't want to do it. People are going to think of, they're going to have something to say. Well, guess what? It's time. At this, where we are now,
Yeah.
all hands on deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, all hands on deck because it's bad.
Yeah, but that's a part of that empowering. If I was an elected official, I would really want to have somebody. I would want to have my people feel empowered by me, and everything is not. One of the Martin Luther King Jr. quotes is, "Faith is taking the first step." And taking the first step means that even when you can't see it and see the whole scenario, that you still jump into that there's a possibility that something can change.
Mm-hmm.
And as we continue to honor Dr. Martin Luther King for the month of January, then we definitely know that the civil rights era was all based upon faith because there was nothing tangible. They were creating something tangible. And when we elect somebody in office, it's all based upon faith. Everything is based upon faith. But we know, like it says in the Bible, that faith without works is dead. So if you're not including yourself into it, then it's absolutely nothing. But I am Tamori Richardson, your host. We are on TeeTalk Global Vibe, Power 88.fm. Power 88.fm, we will be back. We are taking a quick ad break. YouTube, we will continue back in these seconds. So I totally agree with you. And though for those of you that do not know on YouTube land, out there in YouTube world, and by the way, if you are online, please like and subscribe. It'll give you alert to our weekly shows that are coming up. I'm gonna try to have my guest here on as much as possible. But we'll have different guests, and if you're interested in being a guest on my podcast, as well as on our radio show, please reach out to me at Tamori at power88.fm. We would definitely appreciate that. So, but definitely moving forward, this is how we have to do. We're trying to have a more fair type of world that we're living in. And as we're spending January honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on January the 20th, which is Monday, if you are in California, in the Bay Area, you are invited and more than welcome to come and attend. The Solano County Black Chamber of Commerce is having their annual Martin Luther King Jr. It's a free community event, and it's a beautiful celebration, a commemoration. No, we're not up dancing and doing all that, but we're gonna have a DJ. We're gonna have spoken word poets. We're gonna have some live musical singers. We're gonna have speakers. I will be speaking myself as well. And we're going to have a huge community full of people that want to learn more about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and hopefully think about how we can all play a part. So it's going to be at the Solano County Fairgrounds. That's in Vallejo, California. Solano County Fairgrounds across from Six Flags in Vallejo. And it's going to be at the McCormick Hall. It is a free community event. We prefer for you to register, but if you cannot register, you're more than welcome to come, but you can register at www.solanoblackchamber.com and register for our MLK event, Solano County Fairgrounds, McCormick Hall. It starts at 1 p.m. It'll start sharp because I like to start sharp and end at 3 on a time. And it's going to be a beautiful event. And then you can meet people. We will have vendors. We're going to have retail vendors and everything. So come and join us on Monday. And welcome back, Power 88.fm listeners. Welcome back to TeeTalk, a Global Vibe. I'm your host, Tamori Richardson, and I have my guest with me here today, Lakeisha Johnson. And we're just breaking down special things that are going on around the county and going around the state of California as well. We know that the 20th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, as well as the inauguration. I know some people who are down there as we speak having the best time of their lives. Excited about that opportunity. And, I think it's always going to be exciting when you can go and watch a president be inaugurated.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yes.
What do you think? I've been hearing, I don't know for a fact or
Mhm.
anything like that. I probably should have Googled it.
Mhm.
But they said that Nelly and Snoop Dogg will be performing for the inauguration.
Hmm.
I know for a fact that Carrie Underwood is, and she's catching a whole lot of heat.
Mhm.
What do you think about people who are going to perform for the inauguration?
Such a good question, Lakeisha. Well, let me start it off with the Martin Luther King Jr. quote where he says, "Love is the greatest force in the universe. It is the heartbeat of the moral cosmos. He who loves is a participant in the being of God." And I think that starts that off profoundly. I find it astonishing that people feel in any way, shape, or form in this cosmos that you get to tell people who they should and they shouldn't. I remember when Barack Obama had ran and had, you know, beat McCain severely in the first election. And I had liked, what is it, Senator McCain. I did have a lot of respect for him. He was, an excellent person with integrity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of backlash, a lot of racial backlash. And to be honest, I voted for him because he was black.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't terribly into politics at that time, but I knew we didn't have a black president. I knew we certainly needed some change. We were just electing white men that was burning the country down. Hell, let him burn it down too.
Right.
May not do no better, may not do no worse. And so there was a lot of backlash from that. And I will say this. Trump calls a lot of this on himself. These are my personal views, right? When you are a polarizing person, and you say what you feel, and he also says some stuff that, it's uncouth, right? But I don't dislike him. I don't love or dislike him. I don't love or dislike any elected official. But these are jobs, and if they are going to be performing, how dare somebody tell you first off where you can go get your coin?
Hello.
That's first.
Somebody.
That's first. But second, who you, as an American, that our whole foundation, the basic fundamentals of who we are is based upon the right to liberty and justice and the right to vote. We died and did all of what we've done in our ancestors to have the right to vote and vote for whoever you want. So like when Obama won and people didn't like him because he was black, or people didn't like him because he was a Democrat, and what was we saying? Oh, well, he's still your president. We don't care. Well, Trump is still your president. So whether you like it or not, it is who it is. And I think there has to be innate, inherent. Yeah, I don't think I think that he's shows bias in a lot of areas. That's between him and God. That's not for me to tackle, right? Because my community, when I think about it, it's like, oh, he doesn't like black people. Well, black people sometimes don't like black people. We're not doing too great by us. You want me to dislike him?
Right.
So
we do ourselves in.
They should do what works for them, because guess what? We have to work with him. And only a fool would say dislike or dishonor the most powerful man in the world who we're going to need resources from, because we not getting nothing right now. So listen, if he asked me to come sing, and he wouldn't, because everybody be closing their ears and barking like dogs, howling. If he did, I would be. If I was not at MOK, we weren't having an event, yes, I would be. I would have been at the inauguration.
I had that conversation before coming here this morning, and I said exactly the same thing. I said, he's not benefiting from them going to say. I said, but they're going to benefit.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I definitely would if he asked me to sing.
Absolutely.
I said, now, do I agree with him? Absolutely not.
You don't have
I
to.
Look, I might have something to say on my way out the door, off the stage, but
Yeah.
I said, no, you don't. Why are they getting so much backlash for them benefiting and growing their careers?
You know what it is? We live in a world, and I can't wait for May, because May, the Solano County Black Chamber is planning a mental health summit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that with some wonderful partners around the Bay Area. We have so much untreated mental health trauma.
Mm.
And we live in a world where people need to see color to be visible, need to see gender to be visible. Now, I get representation matters. It is important.
Mm-hmm.
But that first feel of structure and love starts at home, where you feel that you're good enough. or you're just as good. And then you carry that on through life. We have a lot of people that live with childhood trauma that they didn't treat, where they were the fat kid on the playground and nobody liked, or their dad or their mother abandoned them, or maybe they grew up in a system that wasn't geared for them. They don't outgrow that. They take that with them to adulthood. So then they see somebody who's wealthy. Oh, I hate them because you didn't have the feelings of, I'm somebody whether I have it or not.
Right.
And I can root for you. And so they'll see somebody like Trump, who's a multimillionaire and who speaks his mind, whether we agree with it or not.
Let's be clear, I don't agree with it.
And that's okay. That's
Right.
what makes this world so great.
Right.
I don't agree with everything he says, but he's got a right to say it. And if he's not calling people racial slurs
Or
or
fun of the
making
disabled.
insinuations, that was not okay. But making fun of something is different from saying an outright. We have built so much of a liberal mentality in this world that everything is wrong often, that sometimes you don't know what is right. But we cannot discount the man and working with him and respecting the office, because then that's where I think we dishonor ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think as I got pressure to support Vice President Kamala Harris, and I was very clear. I mean, I got a lot of pressure being the president and CEO of the Solano County Black Chamber of Commerce. I received several phone calls that I needed to support her because she was black and she was a woman. And I told them, you will not be getting that from me. First off, I have MAGA supporters in my chamber. Let me be clear. I have strong Republican support in the Solano County Black Chamber, strong non-black support in the Solano County Black Chamber. And when I mean hardcore MAGA supporters, I mean hardcore MAGA supporters that are members of the Black Chamber and understand the assignment, but also have a different ideology in some areas, but want to learn and want to know. So I didn't see and didn't support her, not because she is not smart, not because she is not competent and capable. I believe she's all of those things. She had no policies that I was interested in being a part of. I believe that the administration that is current and on its way out has done a horrible job. And I didn't hear anything that was of use. And I'm going to tell you something that was a huge turnoff, and somebody who has no more than a 6th grade education won't understand why. When she brought Megan Thee Stallion on the stage to twerk for black women,
that was a disgrace.
I was absolutely done and didn't engage any longer.
It was a disgrace.
Because you were either out of touch, and I don't believe it was her personally, I believe it was her team told her.
And I love Megan Thee Stallion, let me just say that. But
she's a beautiful young girl. But that's not the platform. That's not.
That is not the platform.
And so what do you do with the women, those of us that are classy, that are business minded, that are intelligent, and you brought somebody on here shaking her little narrow tail? Is that your representation of black women? So I couldn't relate to her. Now, I couldn't relate to him either. I didn't vote for him either. I was a strong RFK Jr. supporter. I did not, I just, because I know his rhetoric, and people who listen and follow him are supporters, and they listen, and everybody, and I don't think Trump realizes this, President-elect Trump realizes this, you don't have a very educated base. I'm going to keep it real.
That's a fact.
Most of his supporters are low poverty. They're a lot of working classes. Nothing wrong with working class.
There we go back with the word faith. With the hope of becoming rich, part of the 1% one day.
I don't know.
Not happening for you.
But I think it's the ideology that, he says what they want to hear. But I couldn't personally support her, and the chamber doesn't get involved with politics. We have a PAC that does. And I was not going to be a part of anything that I didn't believe in. And I didn't think that she would make a good president.
Nothing happened the last 4 years as vice president.
It didn't, and I didn't think she would make a good president. And it was very obvious soon on he was going to take it. And they said this wasn't a landslide. No, he crushed her and ran over her. It was over. It was over like what? Don't we usually wait for like a couple of days out for presidential elections? It was like in 30 minutes. I'm like, now y'all wrong. Go back and recount the numbers. You didn't have to do her like that.
I always, when I talk about it, I go back to, and you can't keep going back, because where I work, you're only as good as your last campaign.
Sure.
And so when she was in California,
Mhm.
she was amazing.
Mhm.
She did a lot of good things. She was the only person who held the banks accountable. But they're like, why didn't we hear anything like that?
Mm.
Why wasn't she championing on that? Because those CEOs, CFOs that ran away with all the money that Barack Obama had threw out there so that people can retain their homes, that there was no oversight and not one person went to prison underneath him.
Let's just say, well, he did save the auto industry.
Not once, but twice.
Mm-hmm.
And then threw us a stimulus like $300 and said, hey, you struggling people, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we were out there fighting over the cookie crumbs.
Did you get an Obama phone? Okay, I'm
I
just asking.
I did not.
Okay. We didn't qualify, I got you.
Right. But no, I completely, I could see if she would have came out the gate from California to running for the presidency,
Mm-hmm.
but she did nothing. You didn't even hear from her. I was like, did they silence her? What happened to her?
But I also think even more so than that, because I loved her in California too, I'm not gonna lie. I thought even as a DA in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
when she was holding parents accountable for their kids and truancy and people were outraged, well, who's supposed to be held accountable for your little crumb snatcher?
There.
So I thought that's how you do it.
And the people who kept saying, well, she was hard on crime and stuff like that. Well, those are the people that were committing the crimes. Like,
You said
really?
specifically.
Like,
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. That's it. Allegedly. I mean, every time I would hear someone start talking about that, I'm like, okay, you must be a criminal.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah. Because you're not understanding that people want
Safety.
listen, because if she was still there, what's going on in San Francisco would not have been going on in San Francisco because she didn't play. So I think she is just as capable. I think she's going to figure out what it is. I think where they went wrong with her is they should have took it to convention and did a vote. People didn't like this willy-nilly behind the slopes. They felt like, they had undercut Biden and that it was calculated. I don't know. I'm not a part of the Democratic Party, but from those looking out, it didn't look good. It looked like really underhanded. And I think that it should have been a more fair vote and then let the people decide who they want. It was just, but this is what happens. And this is where the DEI and affirmative action conversation, we're going to circle back around to that a little bit, is that Biden got so much help from black women, especially in the South, when his campaign was on, when it was on, what is it that you get? When it was on an IV and you know how the drip is barely dripping and they got to do that. That was his campaign for a while. Them black women in the South, I think it was Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
brought him back out. So when you have to rely on somebody like that, then, and he was promising black women, which I thought was horrible. I thought you should have been promising, I will get the most qualified, capable person. And if that's a black woman, great. Like, we got to get out of this stuff. And that's all that very devices, us versus them. And I didn't think this before, but
which is probably why they thrust her in there, because they thought black.
That's exactly what they thought. Because they thought black people hated Trump so bad.
Right.
But what they didn't understand is black people in
Trump.
California hating how black California is looking.
Right.
We're hating that our groceries, eggs is now almost $12
Oh
for
my gosh,
a 12 pack of eggs. It's crazy. You can go to, so no, we hate that more.
Right.
And so even
your
though
gas is higher than anywhere in the country.
It's crazy.
Your groceries are higher than anywhere in the country.
Absolutely.
Your insurance.
Don't get me started. Absolutely. And so I thoroughly agree that they did it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they'll go back and have conversations and have a reckoning with themselves that the American people aren't stupid, and we are watching, and we may not be coming out and screaming and yelling every second, but they got tired of the Democrats throwing them out bones and nuggets of nothing and then predicating it all in race. And we love black people, and we love the gays, and we love transgender, and we love, those was dog whistles that y'all all gonna be you can't afford your groceries, you're gonna be living on the streets because we don't have no real policies to help you. So people got tired. Trump came along and they said, well, guess what? That ain't working.
Right.
And remember his first campaign, he said, you ain't got nothing to lose? Well, technically we don't now because we don't have nothing. So that's what I think.
What they say from the ground up.
Hey, listen,
All the way up.
that's where we are now. So I think, we're going to see, but we're definitely going to respect, I'm going to definitely respect who's in that seat because it's important, and hopefully people can find a way to love and respect each other more, and not focusing on what our differences are. So, some exciting stuff is going on. So,
I don't know. I'm still like, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
I don't know.
I think he's going to start off with it's obvious a mass deportation, and that's going to have some effects. And shout out to Mexico for coming over with their firefighters, and
That means the people you want to deport.
well, that's another conversation for next Saturday. We've only got 2 more minutes of this show left because we've also helped significantly, and it's a difference between. But I get it because someone on social media put, "Oh yes, but you want to deport us." But my understanding is that we were over there training the firefighters, and the resources that you have is that we've allowed a lot of illegal, aliens, not aliens, immigrants here. And
wasn't his wife here allegedly on a workforce a visa?
Yeah, but that's not illegal.
No, it wasn't. But I allegedly I heard that it expired or what have you during that time. I know it's way back when, but the fact of the matter is that, and as we know, there are a lot of allegedly, criminal.
People gonna be like, if y'all don't stop with allegedly, well, allegedly we will.
I'll just say I'm not a real supporter of him.
Yeah.
But I am a supporter of the position.
Sure.
I am not a supporter.
And that's all
of
you
him.
have to be. That's it. You don't have to always listen. It's like the expression, listen to the message and not necessarily the messenger. So, that's where you end up being. I mean, that's where we are with everything in life. But thank you so much, you guys. I want to thank my co-host today, Lakeisha Johnson, for joining me. Great conversation. And, always my engineer behind the scenes. And thank you so much. Great, robust conversation. Next week, we are going to have an author. She's going to be here talking about her book and showcasing kind of what she's got going on. It is she's a great author. She's written a series of fictional novels. So we're going to be talking to her. Do not forget, if you are going to be in Northern California, Monday, January 20th, please come on down to the city of Vallejo, the Solano County Fairgrounds, the McCormick Hall. We're going to be having our Martin Luther King Jr. Free community event. You can go to www.solanoblackchamber.com and you can register. Bring your family. Everyone of color, everyone of any orientation is welcome and will be received well. We're going to have a beautiful community event. So you guys go out, take your family, enjoy the rest of the day. I'm Tamori Richardson, your host. This is TeeTalk, a Global Vibe. And thank you for joining us at Power 88.fm. Thank you.
Be good.
Stop it.